Just to introduce you to Randy Floyd, he is the Program Manager for Corporate and Business Initiatives for the Advanced Manufacturing Technology Department at Austin Community College. And he is our expert in how to apply for these funds in the Austin MSA. And we would like to see more of our companies throughout the region being able to take advantage of these funds. So we are offering his services out to everyone. So please ask plenty of questions so that we can make sure that we're filling out all of the forms as to the best of our ability and taking advantage of these state funds. With that in mind, I will pass it over to Randy to take over.
Welcome, everyone. I don't know exactly who our audience is in total, if it's strictly people that are interested in applying businesses, or if it's just some people that are seeking some general information about the COVID-19 grant. This is a bit of a different thing than we've ever done before with the Texas Workforce Commission. And just because I don't like to ever potentially misquote TWC, I'm going to read to you exactly the special initiative announcement that they put out very briefly. It just says that the Skills Development COVID-19 Special Initiative is a new program from the Texas Workforce Commission that's in direct response to the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak. TWC will award money to eligible applicants who are responding to the training needs of business partners who have been, 1, adversely affected by COVID-19, or 2, who are retooling their business processes to respond to the need for COVID-19 related necessities. The second example that they mentioned there, they provided to us, they said this was like a company who maybe previously made vodka and they were retooling to make hand sanitizer. So that was the second example. But we've actually had more companies on the first end who've just been adversely affected by COVID-19, who have had to have employees assume additional roles, who've had to they've lost some employees, now they've had employees learning new things. And so that's the sort of training that we've been provided since we started. Carol, would you like me to show the business application form, and we can talk just briefly about that? And I guess, do people have the ability to ask questions as we go through this?
So one, yes, please share all those forms. And 2, if you do have any questions, please submit it through the chat forum, and we can get those questions answered for you right away.
Okay. So when we started down this road with TWC, when they told us that they were going to launch this program, we put together a spreadsheet and a workbook that shows all the classes that we offer through the Advanced Technology Manufacturing Program. This is a FastTrack program, specifically what the commission asked for to be able to deliver training in sort of a rapid fire basis. So that's what we've done. Most of the courses are 8, 16, or 24 hours in length. So we've got a copy of this document right here, which is our manufacturing technology catalog. And if you'd like, we can get you a copy of this. Are you seeing that? Oh, got to share the screen. There we go. Okay, now we're seeing it, correct? Okay, this is our manufacturing technology fast track course synopsis. The classes that we're running, it's a true fast track curriculum. We started this program back in 2013. Started working with Samsung here in Austin, and really been perfecting it for the last 6-7 years. Like I mentioned earlier, all the courses are delivered in blocks of 4, 8, or 16 hours. We are pretty much in a virtual classroom experience right now. Several of the courses do require hands-on instruction, and we've sort of pushed those to the end. So the companies that have applied for those sorts of courses, we'll be getting to them after we run through the first series of virtual classes. But we have a resiliency leadership curriculum that we're providing. This has been particularly well received by all the businesses that we've worked with so far. There's 3 different modules, starting with managing through dramatic events. How do your employees embrace change, the necessity of emotional intelligence. We move on to a second module, which is key leadership or skills that are required for managing during disruptive business cycles. So we've got a course on mastering decision dynamics and making high quality decisions. And we follow that up with a third module, which is the required actions that businesses have to take to produce immediate results in situations like this. So executing strategy at the front lines and then maximizing team performance. From there, we move on to what's our core curriculum, which is more of our technical series. And so we've got 3 actual series: an electronics curriculum, automation, and then process control and troubleshooting. Again, these are the sorts of courses that we've been delivering for several of the advanced manufacturers here in Austin, like NXP Semiconductor, Applied Materials. We delivered at some of those companies like Tossis and Georgetown, so they're all familiar with these courses. But everything from basic electronics, intermediate electronics, industrial sensors, fundamentals of schematics, robotics, basic pneumatics, equipment communications, PLC motor control, and more advanced class in intermediate schematics, electromechanical systems. And then we actually have some more elective type classes that we're offering. And these, again, have been very well received as well. Project management and technical writing. Some of the companies have said that there's a real need for this now as they have employees taking on additional roles. Quality control in the manufacturing environment, statistics for process technicians. And then we've partnered with TMAC here in Austin to deliver 3 additional classes in geometric dimension and tolerancing, value stream mapping, and then lean certification. These are just some of the courses that we routinely offer. And so when we started down this road with the COVID-19 grant, we went ahead and put this out there, and companies have actually been selecting classes off of this menu. But we are always open if you've got a special need to creating a class or dipping into our pool of other classes that we offer to assist you as well. I think I'll move over now to the business application. If you've never done any sort of work to apply for a grant with the Skills Development Fund through the Texas Workforce Commission, I will tell you that the process for this particular grant is much easier than it's ever been previously. So what we would do is we would send you this document, which is the actual application document. The grantee, of course, is Austin Community College. We've been granted the funds to work with business partners for this particular grant. And then you simply have to fill out some very brief information as a business partner, provide your Texas Workforce Commission account number, and then what sort of benefits you provide your employees. And then this is the part that we will help you with, but you simply tell us the job titles of the individuals that you want to take classes, identified what the minimum wage is for each person that's operating in that role, and then the hourly maximum range for anybody that's in that role. And then we will work to provide those SOC codes for you, which is the standard occupational code that is required. And then after that, it's really a matter of you just have to agree to provide some very basic information on your employees because TWC does require that such information as their full name, their social security number, mailing address, birth date, and other relevant information has to be provided. We typically work directly with your human resources department to provide that information. And then you just sign off on the application. We take that along with the classes that you request, and we submit it to the Texas Workforce Commission. And they've been having a pretty rapid turnaround on this, getting back to us within about 3 to 5 business days. And then as soon as the approval is done, then you'll hear from me, and we will start setting up a schedule of classes and start moving down the training road. We've been doing this. We've had our first series of classes started last month, and it's all been going very, very well. And it is something that we'll be doing over the course of the next year. So this grant actually runs through May of 2021. So there's definitely time for you to go back and vet this internally, talk about it, see what you want to do. And then, of course, I'm always available. You can get my contact information from Kara directly, and we can set up a conference call and go over any questions that you have in very specific detail. But as I mentioned earlier, as far as Skills Development Fund grants are concerned, this is probably about the easiest one that you could ever participate in as a business partner. Now, there is one other thing that I do need to make you aware of is that as I mentioned, The two cases that TWC is considering for business applicants right now are companies that are retooling, obviously, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, but also companies that have just been adversely impacted. So they've asked us to provide a justification for each of the courses that every company requests. Nobody has been denied so far. So that's not been an issue, so don't worry about it. But I will coordinate with you to ensure that we get that justification filled out. And then I'll take you the business application, this form, and submit it to the Texas Workforce Commission. They will do their process of going over the business application, make certain that everything is in line, and then they'll get back with me and let me know that you've been approved. And that's really it. I mean, in a nutshell, like I said, it's about the easiest skills development fund application that you're ever going to come across. And we've got, Kara, I think I told you the other day, I think I've got 10 companies right now that have applied and have been accepted. And we've started training for all of them. We've gotten through approximately a third of the budget. So there is still plenty of money out there to be allocated. And we are definitely looking for companies that want to step up and get this sort of training.
So we had a few questions pop up in the chat box.
Okay.
One is, how do we how should businesses go about identifying that SOC code that's listed?
Yeah, the best thing for them to do seriously in this is just put in the business, the job title that they want to have trained, and let me worry about that. TWC has been wonderful. The ones that I've sent up there, if they find anything that they say, yeah, that doesn't sound like it's exactly right, they find another code that does work, and then they notify me a few days later. So I really don't want to put the businesses kind of in a position where they feel like, oh, I've got to go figure out what the SOC code is. Just give us the job titles and let me do the hard work. It's not that hard. Oh, I lost the sound. I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
My fault. I was
okay.
on mute. So we had another one that was essentially, we essentially define the Austin area about who can apply for this grant and through you. And do you have, with this particular opportunity, let's say a company in Llano or Burnett had an interest, is there a process for them to be able to take advantage of it? Or is this really limited to the Austin MSA?
Oh, no. It's in your area. So all the reach that you have through Workforce Solutions for the rural areas would be covered. So yeah, that's not an issue at all. So
that's Bastrop, that's Williamson, that's Hayes, that's Caldwell, as well as Travis. And in terms of, so let's say it's in a service area that like Llano and Burnett that aren't really covered by ACC, they're covered by a different college. Is there a process for serving them, or is this something that we want to try and reach out to CTC first? What's your suggestion?
That's a jurisdictional boundary question, and I think that those always come up, and I think TWC likes us to try to work that out and not step on anybody's toes. We certainly don't want to step on anybody's toes. If there's a college that serves those areas and they want to, and they've applied for funds and they definitely want to work through them, that's totally the direction they should go in. But it's always something that if they're not being serviced, I think that we can work with Marlon at TWC and see if we can't get something done.
Right. I also have, can we expand the offerings beyond what's offered in that curriculum booklet that you offered? What's your process for that?
Okay. Yeah. The one requirement that the commission did put out, and this is actually in the contract that we signed, is that they want the training to be FastTrack. So when we put out our initial feelers into the manufacturing community to see what sort of training that they would need, we just included the FastTrack manufacturing curriculum that we've already developed. But we can always work directly with you or any of the companies to find a very specific sort of training if you need like a specific sort of technical writing or communications or even a class that's got to be developed, we can do that as well. I do believe, though, that the commission will hold pretty firm to that FastTrack requirement, which means they're going to want to see classes that can be delivered in total training time of under 40 hours. Because they're not looking to get into big, long certifications or things like this, like you would do for a human resource certification or quality assurance or something like that on this particular grant. This is really designed to be more of a very quick hit, provide some training, and move on down the road. Now, that doesn't mean we can't come back later and look at doing a STF grant with some of these companies, Kara. As I've already mentioned to you, when the Workforce Commission goes back to what I like to call regularly scheduled programming in the fall, which is what we're hoping for. But right now, for this particular grant, it should be very targeted, very specific. And all we would need them to do is when I send them the form over that's got what sort of classes do you want, there'll be a box in there for you to add any additional training that you would like to request. And then I'll call you and we can talk about what that training would look like.
So another question we're seeing is how do you define adversely affected by COVID? Do we have an answer to that?
There is no definition, okay? And that's one of the things that I had looked at originally. I think that the best thing that I can tell you is go ahead and apply. No one has been turned down. I have been putting together a list of what I call, pat responses to the justification question. TWC is very eager to see companies benefit from this training. They know, from the applications that I've submitted, that everyone's been hit hard in some way. So the justifications that I put in have all been accepted. And I think we just need you to provide me some sort of general, this is kind of what's happened to us, and then kind of let me choose from the drop-down list that I've developed for that particular course.
Still on mute. So I had another question about how are the courses covered? Are they covered 100% by this grant?
That is correct, 100%.
And just so to clarify, but they do still need to pay wages while someone is attending, correct?
Yes, that is a very good question, Kara. One of the requirements of an SDF grant is that the employees are full-time employees. They can't be contractors or anything like that. So they actually have to be your employees. And the training is paid training. If you have workers that have been furloughed and you're wanting to train them, there is a provision for doing that. You just need to include that on the application. There's actually a column for that, for you to put that in there and make that request.
So our courses, are they live or are they recorded?
They're delivered by a live instructor.
Okay.
So it's just like what most of the colleges are doing now. It's I've got 2 kids at A&M and they're live classes with an instructor, but they're not at your own pace. There is actually an instructor teaching the course.
And can they be scheduled late in the day, on the weekend? Would it include soft skills like delegation, conflict management, or time management?
Yes. The resiliency training that I mentioned at the very beginning of the call, which is the 3 classes, covers a lot of that. It's designed, and our instructor who teaches that is actually a certified business continuity expert. So those classes actually cover a great deal of those things. However, if you have something specific that you're wanting to address, such as time management, you're having a problem in your company with that, then when I send you the form for what classes you're interested in, please let me know. And we'll see if there's a more appropriate course than the resiliency ones that we're currently offering, and we'll get that queued up for you.
There was a concern that you weren't doing this for Travis County. You're also serving the capital area with this resource as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Well, I don't know if everybody's on the call knows how the workforce solution boards work. So, you're my contact for the rural area, and then I've got contacts over for the capital area as well. So I just have a better relationship with you. That's a joke.
We're just kidding.
Just kidding. Just kidding. No, of course, everybody's eligible.
Yes. Are nonprofits eligible to train participants purely as a learning upskilling tool, not necessarily manufacture a product? I don't know if you can answer that one specifically. And
there's a long answer to that and a short answer. So I'll just give you the short one. I'm actually not the person to ask that question because I'm strictly manufacturing at Austin Community College. I don't know that anybody else at ACC is doing one of these grants, but I don't want to just say no. If that person could contact me directly and let me see what I can do, that would probably be the best solution. Even though I am responsible for manufacturing, there might be a way, and so. If you'll just contact me directly, and Kara, can you get these people that have these questions my direct contact information?
Yes, okay. I can. And also I want to, we have Carl Braun on the line too. We also have a business solutions consultant based in every county. So if you're a business organization that's looking for upscaling resources, you can reach out to your local business solutions consultant, and we can explore how to get you connected to the right education provider as well. This might not be the right tool for this experience, but or this resource might not be the most appropriate, but we can definitely find you either the right one and how we can move forward. So it is not only available to manufacturers, but in this case, Randy is the expert for the manufacturers. I have another question of how's the training delivered?
Right now, we're starting with classes that are delivered in the virtual classroom environment. So that means it's like this is right here, a Zoom call where the instructor is live and he's teaching the class. We have some of our courses do require in-person instruction because there's some hands-on lab that's involved. So right now we're kind of pushing those out a little bit. You can still apply for them. We're just pushing them out a little bit so that we can, see how things are going to shake out right now. As everybody knows on the call, this is a day-to-day thing. And when we started down this road, a couple months ago, it looked like things were getting better. And then of course things took a real sudden turn for the worse. And so we're still kind of pushing those more technical classes that require the hands-on instruction out a little bit, but we still do intend to deliver those. So right now, the stuff that we're concentrating on are the courses that can be delivered in a virtual environment.
Are small businesses included? Is there a minimum number of employees required to participate? Can sole proprietors take advantage?
Okay, there is no business size requirement. If you're familiar with the Skills for Small Business grant program that TWC runs, this operates very similar to that. I have had several companies that have applied that have had only a couple people that they want to go through training. Now, that being said, let me say this. In order to deliver those classes, if you only have 1 or 2 employees, we have to find a way to group you with other companies in order to deliver those classes, because we can't deliver a class for just 1 or 2 people. So we're doing that now. We've got several companies that we're pooling together to deliver in the virtual environment. The trick will be when we get to the non-virtual environment and finding a location which will probably be an ACC campus where they will come together. Right now, everything though at ACC is pretty much still online. So that's going to be a future address. We'll have to look at it and see what we're going to do exactly. I can't tell you right now, but that's what we're going to have to do.
And is there a minimum class size then?
The minimum class that we usually will run is for like 6 people, and that's just because of our overhead cost. And that's kind of the same for, I think, for any of the other providers that I've been working with anyway. So 6 people is usually the minimum. It depends on the circumstance, but we would probably not go with less than 6 in most scenarios.
Can a company be too big to be eligible for the grant? And if we have the employees to support a virtual class?
Can a company be too big? No, you couldn't be too big. It's just a matter of what exactly, what sort of training are you looking for? I mean, because if you're talking about like a major corporation, yeah, those are the ones that I routinely work with. So this is not a skills for small business grant per se. It's just that they've been running it that way because we're putting multiple companies on a single grant. So no, you couldn't be too big. Now, depending on how much training dollars are requested, that's going to be another animal. Oh, it's probably something I ought to mention. TWC does limit the amount of training that each individual employee can receive. So you can't have one employee take 12 classes and that total like $15,000 or something. The most is $1,800 to $2,000 for each individual employee. So depending on how much the class costs, you might be able to string together 3 or 4 classes for a single individual, but you can't have one person take an infinite number of classes. So that's probably a bit of a segue off of can you be too big? But no, you can't be too big. We just have to take a look at what's available. And there's always a possibility that we may need to go back and apply for additional funding from the Workforce Commission as well.
And I just I'm going to build on this a little bit. The SDF historically has been for those larger companies. This is an opportunity for smaller, medium-sized, let's say, that maybe didn't really that had trouble applying for the SDF in the past. This would be an opportunity to be able to take advantage of it and kind of get a feel for how you can use it maybe in the future and partner with similar organizations. So you don't necessarily need, and because of the virtual capacity, it makes it a lot easier in terms of blending resources right now. So if you can, so there's not necessarily a size as the way that we're talking about, but this is an opportunity for smaller manufacturers to jump in and take advantage of these funds.
Yes, and that's exactly what we've seen so far, Kara, is the 10 or 12 companies that I have been working with on the grant are smaller than we typically work with, and it's going very well. So it's exactly what we had hoped when you and I talked about this when we first learned this grant was coming out, that smaller companies that maybe haven't had the opportunity to take advantage of SDF grant training will step up and say, hey, yeah, let's give it a roll and see how it works here.
Absolutely. So I have another question. What programs or grants complement this? In other words, what can we do in parallel? And so it might be that, and I don't, Randy, do you want to answer it first?
I think I've been stumped.
Okay, it might be helpful for us to kind of look at it that way. And I think this would be when you would want to get your business solutions consultant involved in kind of how you're creating your plan for growth. What you would want to look at is, it depends on the size of your company. You might qualify under skills for small business. That may be some classes that aren't available through ACC, through this opportunity, but maybe they're in a different school that we can take advantage virtually of the Skills for Small Business program. Maybe it's part of some incoming workforce that the on-the-job training as part of the Workforce Center is the right move to help with some of that initial 12 weeks for some new employees. I might be, I think I said 12, I'm not sure if it's full 12 weeks. Carl, you might have the better details on that. But we would work through what that looked like for you based on your needs. So So if that's something that's of a concern, or you're interested in really exploring how we kind of mix opportunities, absolutely reach out to us and we can help you kind of play around with all the resources available.
Thank you, Kara.
No worries. So I don't think I have, is there any other questions?
If there aren't, then I have one thing that maybe you and I ought to mention real quick before we get off.
Sure.
Is if companies are interested, I believe I have sent you, Kara, the Excel spreadsheet that has these are the classes that are offered. Tell us which ones you want, and if you want something different, let us know. And then I think you also have a copy of the business application. Is that right? Yep. And so if these companies are interested, perhaps you could send them that, and then they
Absolutely.
could, and then CC me or whatever, and then we'll take it from there and start shepherding them through the process.
Absolutely. And I know I saw that Carl put up his contact information in there, so that's a general email box. We're missing the net, the N in net, but you're going to want to make that correction before you send out your request to us. And then and request, that'll help you find your local BSC. If you want to reach out to me directly, I will also, I know all of our BSCs have this information. I also have it. I know I've sent it out to a few different people within our region, our EDCs and chambers. If it somehow got lost, or if maybe I made a mistake, please reach out to me and I'm happy to resend it. Anything else? I don't hear any other questions. So with that in mind, so thank you everyone. And if you do have any further ideas, questions, thoughts, please let me know. And thank you, Randy, so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you giving us these details. We're excited to support our companies in this.
Oh yes, yeah, this is a great opportunity. So we're just eager to help whoever we can help.
Good luck surviving all of the application processes. I know it's a lot of work to have to wade through, and we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for your support, Kara.